Yes. Okay. Fine.
What now?
That was my lawyer. She says the government is seeking the death penalty for Annalise.
I thought the death penalty was suspended in Pennsylvania.
Annalise's case is federal, not state, so... yeah, they can execute her.
I was tailed on my run last night.
What?
Stop.
There's a black SUV, probably the FBI.
No, it's just how paranoia works. Your mind is making things up.
Or the FBI heard everything that Gabriel told us, which means it's all true. They killed Asher, and now they want to do the same to Annalise. We signed a deal with the devil, Michaela.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, it's your homie, Futuristic Mike, and I'm back with another How to Get Away with Murder video if you're new. Make sure y'all leave your theories, comments, everything down below in the comment section. If you're a fan of How to Get Away with Murder, if you love How to Get Away with Murder, hit the like on this video. If you're new to my channel and this is the first time you're finding me, subscribe, turn on those post notifications so you can always see when I'm dropping some content so you never miss any How to Get Away with Murder news. Now, this is going to be my review for How to Get Away with Murder, Season 6, Episode 12, titled Let's Hurt Him. This was a solid episode, and I just want to say, man, I really hope Annalise is not dead. You know, I just really hope she's not dead. She went through all this stuff. It started with the murder of Sam Keating, her husband. Really, all of her students did everything. She didn't do anything. She never actually committed a murder, and she's dealing with all this shit pretty much because she has the kids in her life. And if she would have never brought the Keating 5 in, then she wouldn't be going through all this stuff. It started with Wes swinging that trophy into Mr. Keating, and then everything just spiraled downward from there. So I just want to say, man, I really hope Annalise survives this. The whole theme for this season is who killed Annalise, but man, I really hope that's not true. I hope nobody killed her, and if she is dead, I really hope like it's a flash forward scene or something like that far in the future, and she dies naturally, because this is ridiculous. But why would they be trying to tease us all season and say who killed Annalise like it's a real mystery or something? I don't know, man. We just got to wait and see. But we're going to get into this episode. But before we dive into it, if you guys enjoy discussions like this, please be sure to give the video a like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any other uploads. Now, the episode starts off with Gabriel coming to Connor, Michaela, and Oliver's door, and he's telling them that the FBI killed Asher because he pretty much seen the entire thing underneath the door. When it happened, he heard something in the hall, and he looked under his door in the apartments, and he saw Asher getting murdered by the FBI, and he's just trying to let them know so they trust him a little bit more, because as we all know, this group really doesn't trust Gabriel, and they never let him in on anything. So this is a piece of information that none of them seems to buy. They do not believe Gabriel at all. All of them actually believe that Gabriel is wearing a wire and trying to frame them, or maybe he just wants to make them paranoid. But Gabriel explains everything that he witnessed, including his initial suspicion that Laura was the killer. He thought Laura was the one that did it because he seen a female, just a female from the back that really looked like Laura or something. So that's why he thought it was her. And when Gabriel leaves, Oliver confesses that he thinks Gabriel might be telling the truth. Now, Gabriel's mother, Vivian, returns to Philadelphia after Gabriel's desperate phone call to her last week. He called her, and he was really desperate and needed to see her ASAP. Vivian pays a visit to Annalise, and she reveals to her that the FBI killed Asher because she knows all about it too. Now, including all the details about what Gabriel saw and why he initially kept it a secret. She also tells Annalise that she has some information that could help Annalise's case. And you already know that Annalise should definitely hop on this, but she's suspicious because she doesn't trust Vivian at all. Her and Vivian have a long past when it comes to Sam Keating, and Annalise doesn't know if she can fully trust Vivian. Vivian says that she'll only give the information up if Annalise agrees to protect Gabriel, and Annalise doesn't really trust Gabriel either. she's not really fond of Gabriel. She doesn't really care for him. So at this point, I already knew that Annalise was going to say no. Given their last encounter, Annalise is skeptical of Vivian's intentions. If you guys remember Annalise said to Vivian, "Fool me once, girl." I don't remember exactly what she said. She said something along those lines. Later in this episode, though, Annalise decides that she wants whatever intel Vivian is offering. She wants it, and she'll hold up her end of the deal by protecting Gabriel. When Vivian arrives at Annalise's place at the end of the episode, she says that she knows who started the war against Annalise, and it wasn't the FBI or Governor Burkhead. To Vivian's surprise, Annalise correctly guessed Sam's sister. This was kind of shocking to me, but to be honest, I seen something coming like this a long time ago. Hannah Keating, she's talking about Hannah Keating. Vivian tells her why Hannah hates her so much, and Annalise doesn't seem to know the reason. She says because she's a sad, lonely bitch who thinks I killed her brother. That's what Annalise says. And Vivian says that's not it. This war got started because of what happened with her and Sam. And that's when the episode ends. And everybody was probably all in shock, because I know I was. And they actually mentioned something of Sam and Hannah, like incest stuff, earlier in the show. I think it was like season 1 or season 2, if you guys remember. Annalise had said something to Hannah, something about incest or whatever. And it kind of makes sense why they would bring this into the story. Now, it seems like Hannah's name was dropped out of nowhere, but Sam's sister was actually mentioned several times during this episode. So earlier in the episode, Gabriel was frustrated with Vivian for talking to Annalise about Asher's real killer, and he played the phone recording of Frank threatening to kill him a few days earlier. Gabriel has to do whatever he has to do to protect himself too. He's just trying to protect him and his mom. Now, that's when Vivian revealed that Frank isn't just some random associate of Annalise's. She says that Hannah and Sam used to know Frank and his family years ago, and Hannah is the kind of person that Gabriel should avoid. Also in this episode, during a hearing to get her house arrest locations expanded, Annalise is blindsided by the news that AUSA Montez plans to make Annalise's case a capital trial. So they're really going public with this, and they're trying to take Annalise down, for real. And she'll be pursuing the death penalty. And that's why I say this really pisses me off. That really makes me mad, because Annalise really never got no blood on her hands. It was all the kids. It was all her students that did everything. Wes hit Sam upside the head with the trophy. I mean, he had every reason to do that, though, because Sam was choking Rebecca, and Wes felt like he was going to kill Rebecca. And also, Michaela's the one that pushed Sam over the balcony in the first place. So really, Michaela started all this. I know Rebecca shouldn't have went there and tried to snoop through his laptop and everything, but really, they're all responsible for this. And then Asher ran over St. Clair with his car, and it's just a whole bunch of shit. And Annalise really had nothing to do with any of this. And that's why it's really pissing me off that they're all getting paranoid and most likely going to turn against Annalise. Because, she had their back from the very beginning. She told Wes straight up that I'm going to protect you. And she said to all of them after that, after they all found out that she's going to protect all of them and they're going to get away with this. And, they got away with it for so long. And now out of nowhere, the pressure's really getting to them. And the FBI's closing in. And they're all trying to crack. They're all trying to turn on Annalise. And it's really pissing me the hell off, because I just be thinking to myself, like, really? Like, what did this woman ever do to them? The only thing she did was really try to protect them. I know Annalise has been mean to them in the past, and she said a lot of hurtful things to them, but at the end of the day, she protected them, and she didn't get them in no type of trouble. She could have turned them into the police a long time ago to save her ass, but nope. She continued to cover for them time and time again, and the fact that they're doing this and trying to turn on your girl Annalise is pissing me the hell off. Now, Michaela learns from her lawyer that the AUSA is trying for the death penalty, and her and Connor seem really, really nauseated at the fact that their false testimony could lead to Annalise possibly getting the death penalty. And, this makes them think a lot about it, but I still think they're going to turn on her. I really do. Plus, now that they've had a chance to think about Gabriel's theory about the FBI killing Asher, they seem to believe it, and they worry that the FBI has their house bugged, that the FBI put a bug in their house. They try to get out of the deal with the FBI, and they make some failed attempts, but Connor and Michaela think that they might be next, that the FBI kills, because if the FBI really did kill Asher, they think they might be next. There's actually so much to unpack in this episode, specifically in this episode. So much has happened, and I feel like I'm just rambling on and on about it, and I'm not going to get into every detail. If you guys have seen this episode, then you know what happened, but I'm going to talk about a few more things. Now, after learning that the FBI may have killed Asher, Annalise tells Frank to do some research on Agent Pollock, and he locates her quite easily because you know how Frank is. He can do whatever he has to do to get the job done. Now, Frank watches from a distance as Agent Pollock orders coffee at an outdoor cafe, and when Pollock leaves the cup on the table before walking away, it's Xavier Castillo, who then comes over and swipes the cup, which contains a passport and a plane ticket to Brazil. The next time we see Xavier, Frank has him tied up in a warehouse somewhere, and despite Bonnie's advice that Xavier would be much more valuable to them in a courtroom, Frank decides otherwise, and he decides to repay the torture, because if you guys remember, Xavier tortured Frank at the beginning of the season. He decides to repay that torture to Xavier. Each time we see Xavier, when he comes back on the screen, he's a little more bloody, and he's giving up some decent intel. He tells Frank that he bought Agent Pollock off, but she's the only dirty FBI agent working for the Castillos. And the reason why I say Castillos like that, I know it's Castillos, but I just find it funny because that's how Tegan always says it. So I just thought I'd make a joke out of it. She's always like the Castillos. So, I just had to say it. Annalise learns that Frank has located Xavier, and she uses that information to make a deal with Nate. Now, Nate is highly skeptical that the FBI, the Castillos, and Governor Burkhead have all been conspiring against Annalise this entire time. Now, she offers to Nate to let him confront Xavier because he thinks Xavier had something to do with his father's death, and of course, he did. In return for some FaceTime with Xavier, Nate must promise that he'll testify on Annalise's behalf at trial rather than against her. So she says, "So pick, who do you hate more, me or the man who killed your father?" And the next time we see Nate, he's approaching Xavier in that warehouse. So that answers that question. Now, Nate tried to get a video recording of Xavier confessing to Nate Sr.'s murder, and Xavier refuses to admit it. He's arguing that he's obviously under duress and his confession would never be admissible in court. But after Nate carries out some torture of his own, Xavier starts talking a little bit more. He swears that Nate Sr.'s death was all political, pretty much that Governor Burkhead was behind everything, that she wanted to destroy Annalise after her Supreme Court win, which in my opinion is the stupidest reason in the world to go after Annalise, but whatever, it is what it is. But even as he begs Nate to believe that his father was just a pawn in the governor's game, Nate remains unconvinced, and there isn't some bigger, better reason why his father was killed. Now, it seemed like Nate was willing to spare Xavier's life. That's definitely what I thought he was going to do. Now, he said that he'll let Frank decide. He said he was going to let him decide whether Xavier lived or died. But just as Nate is about to leave the warehouse, Xavier adds that Jorge Castillo is really who Nate wants. It was Jorge who called the hit on Nate Sr. because he wanted to get back at Annalise for putting Jorge in jail in the first place. Now, Xavier even offers to help Nate get Jorge. He says he'll never even see you coming, and he deserves it. I was surprised to hear Xavier say this, but he said he'll actually help Nate take Jorge down. Now, Nate says, "I agree, so let's hurt him." And with that, he suddenly breaks Xavier's neck, which was a big shocker in my opinion. That was a huge shocker. I did not see that coming. He snapped his neck so quick. Now, he killed him instantly. But even though Xavier's murder might have seemed ideal in the moment, Nate might have just made an enormous mistake by killing his enemy, because Annalise and all them might have needed Xavier in the long run. Frank starts freaking out on Nate, and he says, "What the hell did you do?" And he's freaking out, telling him he shouldn't have did that. Nate doesn't say anything because, he thinks he made the best decision. Nate really turned into a killer for real, because he killed Ronald Miller in season 5, and now he killed Xavier. He has 2 bodies on his hand. Like I said, Annalise is the only one that doesn't have any blood on her hands. And even Nate is thinking about turning on Annalise. And this is just sickening. This is just ridiculous, because the people who have actually killed are really trying to testify against Annalise when they're the ones that killed somebody. Annalise didn't kill anybody. She just got her hands dirty pretty much by protecting them, and this is just pissing me off. But yes, this was a solid episode. I really enjoyed this episode. It wasn't better than the mid-season premiere, but I really did enjoy this episode. It was really good, and I can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait for 13. There's 3 more episodes left, and man, I'm excited. But yeah, I'll be continuing to bring you guys more How to Get Away with Murder content in the future. If you guys want to donate to the channel to help support the channel, I got links in the description to do so. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you can never miss a video. I'm going to get out of here, y'all. It's your boy Futuristic Mike, and I'll talk to you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.